Satella. Satella is the witch of envy responsible for the great calamity 400 years ago, who is currently sealed in the evil sealing stone shrine, located somewhere underneath the Augria sand dunes, close to where the Pleiades watchtower is currently standing. In reality, the witch of envy is a separate personality that formed when she took an incompatible witch factor of envy. Satella formally debuted in Arc 4 as a supporting character, whilst the witch serves as an overarching antagonist throughout the series, appearing in pretty much every arc so far, in one way or another. She possesses a yet unexplained connection to both Subaru and Emilia, and was also the one who gave Subaru return by death. Throughout the series, the witch silences Subaru whenever he attempts to talk about his ability. Satella herself did not debut until Arc 4, where she and the other witches helped Subaru accept himself and change his views on return by death. Satella, according to legend, is a half-human/half-elf demi-human woman with silver hair and eyes that are amethyst with a bluish tint to them. As a half-elf, Satella's ears are noticeably pointed. When she manifested before Betelgeuse in a realm devoid of light, the details of her face and the shape of her body were both obscured by pitch-black veils made out of mist. The mist that engulfed her form was so impossibly dark that it blotted out the darkness of the realm. In this state, Satella's eyes can be seen glowing brightly in contrast to the rest of her form. When she attacked the sanctuary in Emilia's body, Satella's form was once again obscured. Although the contours of her body were difficult to ascertain, the shadows surrounding her made her seem as though she wore a dress of darkness and had long raven black hair. Her voice was muffled to the point that it was difficult to distinguish whether it belonged to a man or a woman. In the anime adaptation, Satella's clothing deviated significantly from the description provided in the light novel. In the anime, she wore dark purple thigh-high socks with golden frills on the top, a dark purple one-piece mini dress with golden flower decorations, and a long dark veil that covered a part of her face. When Subaru encountered her at Echidna's tea party, she wore a black dress made of shadows that seemed to wave in accordance with her heartbeat. Initially, he was unable to see her face because of a black shadow covering her above her neck, which was created out of his reluctance to accept her. However, he later accepts her and becomes able to see her face, mentioning afterward that she looked exactly the same as Emilia. Contrary to popular belief, Satella and the Witch of Envy are separate personalities, formed when she took an incompatible witch factors. The two personalities tend to fight each other. Both personalities love Subaru, though the Witch of Envy personality is much more aggressive about it, while Satella is much more reasonable and cares deeply about his well-being. Kaioshin describes Satella as earnest, and according to him, she would be searching for him with all she could. Satella was a reckless girl, pure, honest, and in spite of being burdened by a rough destiny, it wasn't seen in this girl. According to Beatrice, the Witch of Envy was starved for love before her imprisonment. For unknown reasons, the witch was obsessively in love with Natsuki Subaru, who, to his knowledge, had never met her before in his life. In the shadow world she called home, Satella would simply sit idly and monotonously repeat the words, "I love you," over and over again, seemingly swamped by her own obsessive feelings of love towards Subaru. She was incredibly possessive over Subaru, as she wouldn't allow him to tell anyone else the secret of return by death. She seemed to have no remorse, nor did she pay attention to anyone other than Subaru, as she didn't hesitate to execute Emilia when Subaru told her about return by death. If the secret of return by death was revealed to another person, Satella would find a method of bypassing her imprisonment and slaughter all of Subaru's allies in that timeline, presumably as a form of strong reprimand fueled by her possessiveness. Although she usually paid no heed to the words of anyone including Subaru's, she once took noticeable offense after Subaru told her he preferred the other witches of sin over her. History. 400 years earlier, Satella absorbed the witch factor of envy, which she had no compatibility with, resulting in the creation of her Witch of Envy personality. However, this alternate personality was not the reason for her subsequently going out of control and killing countless innocent people and nearly destroying the world. Despite the efforts of many, including the dragon, the first sword saint, and the sage, Satella was unable to be killed and was instead sealed in a shrine that was watched over by Shala until the end of Arc 6. Currently, the Pleiades Watchtower and Evil Sealing Stone Shrine are being watched over by the divine dragon itself, Volcanica. Despite being physically imprisoned near the Great Waterfall, Satella somehow maintains a link to Subaru's body and is constantly aware of his actions, even managing to manifest in the shape of a shadowy figure of varying sizes multiple times throughout the story. Abilities. Authority of Envy. Shido no Ken no Satella is able to use the Authority of Envy. Although the abilities of the Authority of Envy have yet to be revealed, in the web novel, Minerva mentioned during the witches' tea party that Satella might direct her jealousy, Netami, toward her if she stepped in between her and Subaru, suggesting that it's something that affects people remotely. This ability has been removed from the light novel, hence should not be considered as canon. Immortality. One of Satella's most troublesome and dangerous abilities is her seemingly flawless immortality. Although she could be injured and defeated, Satella's body couldn't be destroyed by any external force. Even the great sage Flugel, who was said to be all-knowing, could not conceive a method to bring about Satella's death. Her immortality couldn't be bypassed by even Rita Stria, the first sword saint, Volcanica, the divine dragon and Flugel, the aforementioned great sage, eventually resulting in her being sealed away, despite it being stated that Reed was stronger than her. It is unknown whether her immortality is part of her Authority of Envy or a completely different ability. By the time of Subaru's summoning, Satella has been alive for over 400 years while still sealed, though this inhuman longevity of hers is most likely due to her half-elf blood. Shadow control. Satella is able to generate and control shadows on a gargantuan scale, though it's unknown whether this is a part of her Authority of Envy or a completely different ability. They erode or destroy all life and matter around her, as well as taking abstract things like thoughts and sometimes even memories and mixing them together. It's also shown that she's capable of manipulating someone's feelings and emotions, amplifying or fabricating them to her own liking. Satella is able to create shadow tendrils which she uses to capture, impale and decimate her enemies. The tendrils are strong enough to hold transformed Garfield in the air and incapacitate him. She is also able to slip the shadows into someone's body through wounds and disperse them outwards, effectively destroying the opponent from the inside out. In the instances in which she has appeared even though still sealed, just showing up has caused the entire area she was in to be completely enveloped in shadows. After covering the area in shadows, Witch of Envy then began absorbing everything around her. The more she absorbs, the more mass her vortex of shadows gains. During a failed loop in Arc 4, the entire sanctuary was enveloped in shadow and everyone else had been swallowed by the shadows. By creating a veil of shadow over her person, Satella could seemingly nullify physical damage directed at her. Even the mighty blows of Garfield Tinsel merely dissipated upon making contact with the Witch of Envy. In some instances, she can also be seen creating hands from her shadows, similar to the unseen hand that came from the Authority of Sloth belonging to witch cult Sin Archbishop of Sloth Petalgius Romani Conti. She often used a shadow hand to grip Subaru's heart whenever he spoke about his ability to anyone who isn't her. According to Puck, Satella was capable of manifesting over 2,000 shadow hands at once. She can also make the hands go intangible. According to one passage from Chapter 58 of Arc 5's web novel, Satella's shadow/magical hands and the unseen hands produced by the Authority of Sloth share the same properties, such as being invisible and can phase through objects, but are not the same ability. Time manipulation. Though we've yet to see the witch freely manipulate time in her favor apart from stopping time around Subaru whenever he speaks about return by death or anything connected to it, though even that isn't confirmed to be thanks to her ability to manipulate time to a certain extent, she was the one who gave Subaru his authority, which he named Return by Death, Shinamidori, in order to prevent him from dying. It should also be noted that the Witch of Envy didn't grant Subaru this ability in order to save his friends, but rather, in order to challenge fate head-on without any restrictions such as death. Furthermore, the true purpose for her granting Subaru his authority is yet to be explained, and all the info above has only been speculated by Echidna in Volume 11. Magic user, Mayho Tsukai. According to Beatrice, the Witch of Envy is capable of using Een magic, as she attempted to use an advanced spell form that would have teleported Subaru, Rem and Louis to a different location, but failed. It was noted by Julius and Beatrice that the spell was a clump of Een magic, more akin to an advanced version of Shamak that was given direction. Miasma. The evil sealing stone shrine where Satella is sealed is covered in the witch's miasma, which is so thick that it distorts everything in one's view. The miasma invades the minds of anyone it touches, annihilates their flesh, and corrupts their soul. During one of the failed loops of Arc 6, Subaru, Ram, Anastasia and Petrash fell victim to the witch's miasma, going mad and killing each other in a bloody spectacle of betrayal. Possession. During a failed loop of Arc 4, Satella was capable of leaving her seal and possessing Amelia's body so as to physically interact with Subaru. The process which she does this by is unknown. However, it is noted that the evil sealing stone shrine that serves as Satella's prison is unable to completely seal her due to reasons currently unknown, and is constantly surrounded by a lethal miasma, and in one loop, she successfully escaped upon sensing Subaru was in the vicinity. Great power. In her era, Satella was one of the most powerful people alive whose defeat could only be attained by the combined efforts of the strongest heroes of the time. Among the witches of sin who were reviled by the world, Satella was easily the mightiest. She was able to swallow up half of the world and was said to eclipse the might of all of the other witches combined. If not for the interference of the sage, the divine dragon, and the sage's apprentice, Satella would have overwhelmed and defeated the first sword saint, despite the sword saint being stronger than her in terms of pure damage output. Even within the modern era, the witch remained almost completely unrivaled in terms of power. The only two individuals whose strength surpassed Satella's are the current generation's sword Saint Reinhard van Istria and his legendary ancestor Rita Stria, who contributed to her defeat 400 years ago. According to the author, if Satella and Reinhard were to fight, it would end in a stalemate as she wouldn't be able to land a finishing blow, whereas Reinhard couldn't bypass her immortality. If you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you later, bye bye.